Ooh, Jess, I don't think they're ready for this.
Oh, they're definitely not ready for this.
Welcome to Witches Wild. Well, hello, you beautiful people. Ooh, a little bit different background. It is chaos here with all the construction going on in the new bathroom. It is finishing up tomorrow, though. Woohoo! And it's also where when stuff's happening, this is where I record, which you'll see this episode. It's flying solo today. As we promised, I am going to post the Mary Queen of Scots episode that I did about my past life regression and who I was here on Witches Wild. It was on the Tea with Orc B, my other podcast, but you get to get it here as well. So excited for you to do this. If you're not familiar with past life regressions or what it's about, I'm about to blow your mind. Literally going to blow your mind at all the synchronicities and all this stuff. And by the end of it, you're like, who's this bitch he think he is? A queen? Well, at the end of it, you're going to be like, all right, honey. Yes, he was. So that's what you're about to see. I've just literally took this episode and put it in here so you all could have it on our platform. So excited. So you could see the intro, all that fun stuff. But strap in, Buttercup, because shit's about to get litty titty and I'm about to blow your mind with this. All right? I warned you. I'll see you in the inside.
It's the Tea with Auric B. Now tune in. Woo! Come on now. Let's go.
Well, hello, you beautiful people. Welcome in to the Tea with Auric B here. Oh, strap in, because this week's episode, I'm going to be diving deep into my past life regression that I had, but it's going to blow your mind at who I was. If the title didn't give it away, there you go. And this is going to require you to have an open mind, because I had to have an open mind when I dove into this, because I was like, what the hell am I about to do? But it was something that not only would blow my mind, would change my life, but then all the synchronicities and stuff that I'm about to tell you that just further prove this story is going to blow your mind. Oh, yes. So I need you to have open ears. If you've heard about past life regressions, great. Strap in, because you're going to love it. If you've not, you're about to learn about something that is quite incredible and remarkable. But what I learned from it and how it has literally changed my whole viewpoint on life and death itself. And I just might take you down a rabbit hole that you want to go down yourself. All right, my darlings? So, but before we dive in, if you're watching on YouTube, you might see a different setup today. Yes. So we're not doing that preparation paralysis or like the perfectionism anymore. I am redoing my podcast room, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to put this off and be like, oh, it's going to be perfect. So you're getting raw and real. I'm literally on my computer today with my old trusty. I tell you what, this microphone is a Blue Yeti microphone. I've got so many Shure microphones out the wahoo that were so much more expensive. This thing, nothing beats it. I'm like, it's so good. So sometimes you just need to sit down, stop worrying about making it perfect, get your ass behind a camera and press record. And that's exactly what I'm doing with you all today. So you see, and then up here, I've got the new TV kind of stuff here at House of Alchemy, which is going to be great. Behind me is about to be a greenery wall, which I'm so excited. But anyways, I'm sitting at, little update before we dive in, I'm sitting at a desk I got on Marketplace, which is incredible. And it is about to be the bone reading and the bone casting and tarot desk here at House of Alchemy. I'm so excited for that. And you'll have to stay tuned and follow along on that little thing that we're going to dive into a little bit later, but also might have a new podcast coming out too with my buddy Jess. So that's going to be launching December 2nd. And you'll just have to stay tuned for all the goodies on that. Okay. But I'm going to be showing you all kinds of things. But this desk is beautiful. It's stunning. I found it on Marketplace. It was probably like a $2,000 desk. I got it for like $150. I was like, I'll get a U-Haul and I'll be right there. Thank you. It was a lot bigger than what I thought. But it's beautiful and we love it anyways. So let's dive in. All right. Past life. Let's talk about it. All right. Let's spill the tea on it. So past lives and past life regression, I had never heard of it until probably 2021, I believe it was. And I was introduced to it by a friend at the time. And I was like, no, I don't know what it is, but here we go. And so that's when I was introduced to the term past life regression, what it meant. And I was introduced to the queen, I love her, Dolores Cannon, who's like the queen of past life regressions. And I was like, okay, let's see. Oh, there's a horn going off. Love it, city life right outside of the building. So I literally was like, no. He was like, you want to do one? Because I do them. And so this friend, had come out kind of out of the metaphysical closet to me, like he was a medium. And I was like, holy cow. And he was a really close friend at the time. But then he like blew my mind with mediumship. He called one day and it was I think it was my birthday. And I was really down because like one of my parents had not called me. And I was like, that's the first time that's ever happened. And I was sad. And I was just I didn't really do anything for my birthday that go around. And I remember him calling me. He's like, can you talk? And I was like, sure. And he was like, hey, there's something I needed to tell you, but I don't want it to freak you out. And I was like, sure. He goes, I'm a medium. And I was like, well, that's cool. Love this. And he was telling me like, he's never really told a lot of people, and it comes with a fear of like, what are people going to think? But the thing is like all of us have psychic abilities. Most of us are just asleep to it. And so I was like, sure. And he goes, but that's not it. I'm pretty sure your grandmother's here. And he said something about that. And I was like, holy cow, that's my dad's mom. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she has a message. She was like, don't be mad. It was a misunderstanding. Like, I know you're sad. Like, there was no way he could have known that I was sad that my dad hadn't called on my birthday. And he literally called and was like, your grandmother wants you to not be sad. It was a misunderstanding. And I was like, wow. I was literally mind blown. There's no way anybody could have known that because I was literally by myself. So I knew then. I was like, oh, okay, that's grand. And that's really freaking cool. So that's kind of how I learned about him. So he was telling me about the past life regression. And if I'd ever have one, I was like, no. He's like, you should do one. So I was like, sure, let's do one. So the premises of past life regression is it's whenever a past life regressionist takes you into a very deep meditation. And then it allows you to kind of go into and access past lives. Now, for me, I grew up in that good old religious cult called Primitive Baptist. So for me, like, there's no reincarnation. There's no anything like that. Well, clearly I don't have the same views anymore. And I knew that, like, the concept of heaven and hell that I grew up believing was not accurate at all. It was man-made to basically control people and put them in fear and control by fear. So I knew, but I never really given any thought to like life after death. After that, I was going through my spiritual awakening. Like, I was starting my witchy things and I was like, whew. So I was very open to it, but I didn't know much about it. So it's a way that you can access past lives and to see like, what your soul had experienced in a past life. And a lot of the times that you can learn, it's like there's lessons to learn that you need to learn in this life and overcome. And it can really have profound healing on people. And I mean, I literally didn't even scratch the surface of that. Google it, go down the rabbit hole. I'm definitely going to talk about it more and all that stuff. Your boy here is actually going to become a practitioner of it. But it's basically accessing a past life. And, people are like, well, that's made up, all this stuff. And I was like, and then even my own journey, I was like, am I making this shit up? And then I blew my own mind. Like, I still can't even comprehend it. And But what it did for me is realize, like, after this, like, my version of the afterlife was completely wrong. Don't really fear death anymore. And it just completely changed my whole perception on life and death itself. So that's what we're going to dive into, my journey with that. But that's kind of in a nutshell like a past life regression. That like your soul remembers, like you come in to this and we're seeing it now. If you watch reels or you literally like search on Instagram or TikTok, like past life, you'll see like little kids, you know, that don't have the veil over their eyes yet. But people are like, no, that's not real, or no, that's not real. You see kids coming in like the little, I think it was like a 2-year-old playing piano almost perfectly. That's from a past life. You see, a big one that I really like is the child designer. That he's like literally, he came in, I think he even said he was Gucci reincarnated. He was like, I'm a designer. And his parents were like, okay, we'll roll with it. And now he's literally got runways all over the world, all this stuff. And he literally designs dresses from a young age, knew how to use a sewing machine, knew all this stuff. That's a past life. But, you know, a lot of people be like, no, that ain't real. That's demonic. That's Satan. Fuck off. If you're still in that thing, wake up and actually evolve a little bit, you know, do the rest of civilization a favor and like actually try to be, you know, a more open-minded and a better human being. Try to evolve yourself. So that you see it, and whenever you don't like hide it, you can actually tap into that. But then like after a certain age, the veil kind of gets put back over and you don't remember any of it anymore. So look it up. It's wild. It's crazy. So now let's dive into my journey with it. So that's how I was introduced to it. So he was like, let's do this. And I was like, sure. So we go to my apartment. I want to do it in a safe space. And it was about like 3:30, I think it was. Yeah, it was 3:30. And I get cozy on the couch and I'm laying down. And then he takes and starts having me like finger tap, and and all of this is recorded. If I can get the recording of it, I'll put it out there somewhere on YouTube or an audio. I might even put it on this podcast. But he took me down and had me finger tap, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I've been hypnotized once before at the Wilson County Fair. Blew my mind. That's a story for another day. So I knew there was something to hypnosis. So whenever I got hypnotized, long story short, he put on music and all the dancers to the front at the county fair. I hadn't done a split in years. I can't do a split now. I would literally tear everything. And he was like, dancers front, and I'm dancing. I know what I'm doing, but I'm like, what am I doing? And I get up and I do these pirouettes. I jump into a leap split and go into a split, get up, no problem, all that stuff. And I don't really recollect everything until I was like, you come out of it and you're like, oh, okay, like what happened? And they showed me a video. My partner at the time was just like, dude, you just did a split on stage. And I was like, no, I did not. They showed me the video and I was like, oh my God. Like if I tried to do a split right now and like force it, I would literally injure myself and I would literally end up in a hospital. But hypnosis shut that part of my brain off that was limiting me. And if I tried to do that back then and go into a split, I wouldn't have been able to do it. Under hypnosis, I was able to just go into a split, no problem, because the mind wasn't limiting my body. It was mind blowing. And I didn't feel right for a few days afterwards. But anyway, so I knew, you know, I'd kind of had that effect. I'd been in that effect before. So he was taking me into hypnosis and I'm laying on the couch. And then I'm like, okay, is this working? Like, what is this? I'm like, I'm tapping. And then all of a sudden I'm kind of like, oh, whoa. And I'm like, feeling like I'm in a deep sleep. I'm like, what is happening? But I'm still aware that I'm on the couch. But all of a sudden my eyes are closed and I'm starting to be somewhere. Like in your mind's eye, like whenever I'm like, close your eyes and imagine a cinnamon roll. And you're like, God bless it. Now I'm drooling for a cinnamon roll. It literally, like I was transported and he's starting to guide me into this thing. He took me up through and it felt like I physically left my body. And I was like, whoa. Like I knew I was laying on the couch, but I also knew I'm also somewhere else. And so that was I had never felt that before. And he took me up like through the clouds, all this stuff. And I'm sitting there. It was very disorienting a little bit. And he takes me up into like this space. And I remember telling him, I was like, because I'm a nurse. I was like, I'm getting vertigo. Like I was like, you know, that you ever had too many drinks and the room spinning. And he was like, okay, cool. Like, I was like, my body was feeling it, and I was feeling like I was getting sick, but I was still not there. So it was very disorienting at first. And so got everything calmed down. And then he's like talking to me. He takes me into this place and all these things. And I'm like, okay, well, that was cool. And I'm like still aware that my body is laying on the couch, but I am somewhere fucking else. I'm like, how is it? So my mind's trying to comprehend it while I'm kind of under. And so I was like, he takes me into the room and he is like, I'm going to bring your spirit guide up now. And so I'm like, okay, sure. So he's like, and he starts to count backwards from 10 and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And nothing's really happening until he gets to about 4. And all of a sudden, I'm like, this is bullshit. I was just like, probably like you're listening to her. I was like, this is bullshit. And all of a sudden, this figure like come in front of my face, but it was a wolf. And it scared the shit out of me because it looked like a wolf was running at me. And I'm like, whew, what is this? And then all of a sudden, as this wolf gets really close at the count of 3, all of a sudden it picks up and then it turns into this Native American with this wolf headdress like thing on. By the time I get to 1, it appears and then 0. And I'm like, this figure is standing in front of me. And I'm like, but I'm not just like at this point closing my eyes like and just imagining it. I'm actually there. And that's where I was like, boom, because I'm aware that I'm in this space, but like I'm also aware that, again, my body is still on the couch. So it was wild. So, but I'm standing there and at this point, like I am under and not realizing it either. And he was like, what is your spirit guide's name? And this name called Onawahu comes out of my mouth. And you can hear it on the recording and I'm just like, and so in my mind, I'm still like kind of trying to orient to what the fuck is going on. And I'm like, Onawahu? Where did that fucking come from? Did I just make that up? Like, what's happening? So I'm still rolling with it, but I'm still thinking, I'm like, am I making this up? But clearly I'm standing in front of this person and I know what I'm seeing evidently in my mind's eye, like, and I'm somewhere else. And so I was like, okay, stop trying to control everything and just go with it. So anyways, this could be like a 4-hour podcast, and it might end up being in several sessions. But the thing is he took me, he was like, all right, so I'm sitting there, get oriented to this space. And the thing with the past life, he took me into 4 different rooms, and it was 4 different memories that I was slipped into. So he's explaining that, and I'm like, okay. And I'm just sitting here like in the abyss, freaking the fuck out, being like, I'm in some cloud room on God knows what planet. But I'm also kind of still, I'm wearing my body on the couch, but it's drifting away where I'm more so in this room with this spirit guide than I am on this couch. And he was like, all right, are you ready to go into the first room? And I'm like, okay, here we go. So he was like, 3, 2, 1, you're going to open the door and the spirit guide goes with you. So I go in and honey, it was like I was fucking free falling. And I was way up in the sky. I was this bright light, almost like a phoenix, it felt like. And he's having me describe all this. So all of this you can hear me say. And he was like, oh, you're in spirit form. He goes, you're in spirit form. And he shoved me down. And that's where it felt like I was free falling. He put me back in the physical body. And I was like, and as he's doing this, I'm sitting there feeling, I'm like, oh my God, this is wild. And I start falling. I get the vertigo a little bit again. And I slam into this body. And I'm just like, oh my God. And he was like, and he's guided me through all this. So he's like, what do you see? And I looked down and I remember seeing like gloved hands. I'm in this thing and he's asking me questions. Are you a boy or a girl? And I was like, I'm a girl. Shock. I'm pretty sure this arc here is the first time my soul's ever been a man. And thank God it was a gay man. But I looked at myself and I noticed I had this big ornate gown on. And then I was like this collar around my neck and all this stuff. And I was like, but I'm sitting there being like, oh my God, I'm legit a different human being at this point. Like, and I'm like, whoa, still a little aware of the couch. But I'm seeing it. And then I remember looking up and seeing a reflection of myself. And I was this beautiful woman with like fire red hair. I had the big, like, Victoria, like, kind of the old school collar on, the big white fluffy collar. And I was like, and I said, he was like, I'm a queen. And he was like, what is your name? And the word Mary came out. I was like, okay. So in my head there, I'm just like, Mary? What that's a basic bitch name. Like, what is Mary? Okay, am I making this up? So I'm starting to become aware. I'm like, am I making this up? Like, what is going on? So, and he was like, well, what's going on? I was like, I'm in a room and I'm speaking soft because I'm completely like out of it at this point. And I was like, I turn and I go out to this balcony and I see all these people cheering for me. And like, I was like, I'm about to be like queen, like I'm about to be pronounced queen. And I go out on the balcony and all these people are like cheering and all this stuff. And that causes me to get a little anxious, and the vertigo comes back in my physical body. And I was like, I'm getting vertigo, and like I'm feeling like I'm doing this, and I'm like, whew. So he's like, okay, let's take you out the room. So it's at 3, 2, 1, boom, I get pulled back into this white room that with the spirit guide. And so I'm like, at this point, I'm still a little aware of the couch, but I'm just like, holy shit. This is like, I'm like, boom. And eventually, so I can stop saying it, eventually, I'm no longer on the couch. I'm in a completely different life, like a whole different place. So anyways, he pulls me into that room, or he pulls me out of that room, and I reorient myself, and he was like, okay, let's go to another room. I was like, all right, here we go. So he's like, in 3, 2, 1, spirit guide opens the door. I walk through, and I'm on a horse. And I think I'm a little younger, or maybe the same age, but I still feel the same. And I'm describing the scene. I've got my hair down, and I'm riding the horse through what looked like the fields of, like the countryside of like the UK, like the England. I thought England at first. And he was like, is anyone with you? Or he described the scene. I'm riding a horse. It's lightly snowing, and I am happy. And he was like, is anyone with you? And I said, yes. And he was like, who's with you? And the name David comes out. And again, then I'm like, David, did that just come out of my mouth? But I'm still in this story. But then I get back in my brain. I'm like, Mary, David, like, what? I'm making this shit up. But the vision's still there. And I look back and I see him. And we're happy. We're laughing. We're racing horses through the what I thought the English countryside. And we end up in this cottage. We go into the cottage and we take off our clothes, but we're still in like underwear, like the white linen garments that you wear. And I see this big ornate desk, and I see a big feather quill there and paper, and David sits down, and he's like, we're just talking, and he's writing down everything that I say. And at this point, there's no more couch. Like, I am fully in this. And I'm like, and it was like a happy time. And it was like, what are you writing? I didn't know what we were writing, but I could see it vividly. So remember the cottage, okay? There's going to be certain points I need you to remember throughout this. So there's the cottage. So I go and I literally look, I'm looking out everything. I'm just peaceful. So he pulls me out of that room, and then he takes me into a third room. And I was like, all right, so here we go. At this point, I'm there. And so 3, 2, 1, open the door. And the moment I open the door, I feel like I'm engulfed in flames. And I see this witch at a stake being burned. But I thought it was me for a second, because I was like this close to it. And it was terrifying at first. And then I kind of like, I have to zoom out, and then I'm being kind of pulled back, and I see thousands of witches burning. And I feel like, I was like, ooh, that's my fault. And I felt really bad about it. I was like, I shouldn't have done that. But then I'm like being pulled across this thing and being taken by men. And I'm screaming, no, David, they're killing David. They killed David. It's my fault. I used my voice and I spoke out. I should have just kept quiet. Like, they killed David. And all this stuff, and I'm trying to fight these people back, but they're like, we're trying to pull you to safety. And I'm like, no, they killed David. And then I'm saying all this, so I'm speaking this out loud. And then you can hear me grab my stomach, and I go, I'm pregnant, and the child is David's. the child is David. David has to know the child is his. Like, And again, I'm like, what is this? And then he asked me like, well, what's the child's name? And I said, James. I was like, okay, so we've got Mary, David, James, like basic East Tennessee names. It felt like. I'm just like, okay, like whatever, just going with it at that point. But then I was like, they've killed David. I'm pregnant. He needs to know. But then all of a sudden I hear this big explosion and I'm like, oh no. And I see it happen and I'm like, they just got Henry. So now the name Henry comes out of my mouth. I'm like, this is some East Tennessee jacked up bullshit. Okay. Like, I'm like, now looking, like when I look back on it, I was like, when I first came out, I was like, these names, what? So anyways, so after that, I kind of panicked. I wanted to leave the room. So he pulled me out of that memory and I'm back. And then he was like, all right, we're going to take you to your death. And I said, no, that was traumatic. I don't want to go there. Let's go to the place of rest. So he takes me into the fourth room, which is my place of rest, where you're supposed to be buried, whatever. But when I get in this room, I remember it being so peaceful, and it was like kind of dark, but then a moonlight was coming in on my right, and it kind of illuminated, and then I could see when I looked down. I'm all in white. Remember this scene, okay? I'm all in white, and I'm laying in a big canopy bed. I feel like I'm in like where I'm resting. Like, it feels like my bedroom, but like, I was like, I feel like I'm in this big canopy bed, and there's a window to my right, and I'm looking at the moon, which is my favorite. And it's peaceful. If anybody's there with me, no, because it was nighttime. I was like, nobody's around. And so I was like, okay. So that was a really kind of peaceful moment. So I know, like, I was like, well, my resting place, it felt like I was still alive. Am I in my bedroom? Like, what is this? But it was very peaceful. And so he pulls me out of there and goes back into this white room. And he's like, okay, so now ask your spirit guide certain things. He was like, is there anybody that your spirit guide's like, is there anybody that you want to talk to? Now I am having a face-to-face conversation with Onawahu, this Native American with the wolf kind of pelt over top of his head. I'm there. Like, there's no more me on the couch. And it was like, is there anybody you want to speak to? And yes, I wanted to speak to Henry. I wanted to speak to David. I don't remember what I said to David, but I was able to pull that up and he would come up and I would have a conversation. And it was something, I got to tell him the son was yours. And I love you. I'm so sorry for what happened. That's what it was. And then Henry come through. And I remember seeing him and being like, whoa, very peculiar face, all this stuff. And I was like, I don't resent you. Like, you did the best you could. Like, it wasn't your fault. Like, it wasn't your fault. That's what was coming out. And then I spoke to James and was saying to James, I was like, I think I got to tell him like who his dad was and like, it's okay. You were a great king. And so I'm sitting here like, okay. And you did the best you could. That kind of come up on that end. And then he was like, ask your spirit guide if there's anything you need to learn. Like, is there any before that, he was like, is there anybody that's reincarnated in this life that's from this past life? And I was like, yes, several. And then I named a name. I won't name a name on that end because that will be spilling some tea. But that was a person that came into my life and kind of whatever. It was a little screwed over. But they were somebody. But that's all I'll mention on that. But evidently several people has reincarnated in this life that's from that past timeline. And I said some names, and then there was, I think the word, I honestly don't remember the name that come out. Like, I remember a lot of it, but like, this is the part that he was like, you're not going to remember. And it was somebody that was at my bedside at the time of birth that did a spell, a white witch that literally did a spell to take the labor pains off of me so I didn't feel the labor pains. and they were my astrologer, like, person. I was like, okay, cool. And then it was like, all right, ask if there's anything that your spirit guide wants you to know to kind of learn. I don't remember any of that, but it's on the recording. But then I remember at the end of that, I started getting vertigo again. And I was like, okay, I was like, I need to like, I was like, I'm getting vertigo. I was like, you know, the room's starting to spin. And so he was like, all right, let's bring you back. And so like all of a sudden I'm like, you know, I thank the spirit guide, and then I'm in this space or whatever. Again, this is my only reality now. I'm not a person on the couch. And I'm starting to lose grasp of like the white room, and then all of a sudden I'm out, and then I'm in the cosmos. I'm like in this feeling like I'm floating in space and all this stuff. And then he was like, we're coming down through the clouds, and he's talking me through all this stuff, and he's like, I'm like coming through, and then I'm falling, and then he's counting down backwards, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's happening? What is happening? I feel like I'm being sucked through a vortex. And then 3, 2, 1, poof, I literally jolt up from the couch and start sobbing. I'm like, no. I'm like, what? No. I was so disorienting because I was like, no, take me back. Crying because I'm like, take me back, blah, blah, blah. Because I landed back in, and that's the first time that I was like, wait a minute, I'm about, like, where am I at? It was very disorienting. Like, I just got literally shoved back down into this meat suit on my couch. And I'm like, so it took me a while. I was crying. I was sobbing. I did not want to be back. I was like, no, take me back. And then I'm feeling weird. So I start to calm down, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? Because I'm completely confused. I'm like, what is this? And I was like, and then I was like, dude, I remember everything I said. I remember minus the spirit guide stuff. And I remember every room visually. Like, if you could see the memory, if I could just plug into you and you could see, I see it. Like, I honestly would love to have it painted. And I was like, Mary, David, I was like, what are these basic white names? Like, what the hell is this? I was like, ugh. But he was like, kind of like looking at me with deer headlights, and he was like, holy cow. He goes, do you know who you were? And I was like, no. I was like, what is this? I was like, evidently a queen named Mary. But first he was like, how long do you think you were out? Okay. And about me telling this story, felt about the pace of the passive aggression, about 30 minutes. I said about 20, 30 minutes. Look out, it's dark outside. He goes, you've been out for 3.5 hours. What? I literally thought I was just under, and that whole process took 20 to 30 minutes max. No, I was out for 3.5 hours. Talk about disorienting. I was like, how? And he kind of explained that's liminal space. It's like time does not feel the same. So I go through all of that, and he was just like, do you not know who you are? And I'm like, no. He was like, do you not? And I was like, okay, I'm obsessed with the royal family. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with England, and I'm in the process of trying to move to Scotland. And I'm obsessed with tea. And I've always said, like, I was like, Queen Elizabeth, give me my crown, honey, or at least let's have tea together. That's been my thing. Like, anybody who knows me personally, that's me. And I was like, that's all. And I was like, I know Queen Elizabeth and I love her. Like, yes. So he was like, do you not know you don't know a queen, like a Mary that's a queen? I was like, no. She goes, have you heard of Mary, Queen of Scots? And I was like, no. Literally had no idea. I know I went to Vanderbilt for music. I was brilliant, but history, back in the day, fucking hated it. Awful. And so, not my thing. So I didn't know, that's not also a thing that we studied, like, hardcore in East Tennessee, and it's not what I studied in any type of my thing. So I never heard of Mary Queen of Scots. So it's about 7:30, like, we're in time, and I was like, so we go down a rabbit hole until 3:30. And now this is where I get to blow your fucking mind, okay? If at this point you're just like, he's making this shit up, he's crazy, he's whack. If you are Scottish and you're hearing this, I promise, just strap in, because you're literally going to be like, oh my God. And there comes a point where I was like, you still are like, am I making this up? But on my journey throughout there, everything was kind of confirmed, and it was just blowing my mind left and right. And this was, when did I do this? 2021. I still, last summer, my trip to Scotland, I'm going to blow your mind of what happened. And there's so many synchronicities that you're going to just be shocked. Anybody that I tell this story to, this is the first time me telling this public, but anytime I tell this story to, they literally are shocked. They don't even know what to say, but they're like, oh, I totally believe you, like after this. So anyways, so I find out I've been out that long. And then, so we literally pull up a picture of her, and I gasp. I'm like, that was the person in room 1, the big collar, the red. I was like, that was me. Oh my God, that was me. I was completely like taken aback, because I was like, it was like literally looking in a mirror, and I was like, that's literally what I look like. And I was like, how can this be? What? And this is just where my closed mind it was blown wide the fuck open. And so I'm like, oh gosh. So we pulled up the Mary Queen of Scots movie, and then we watched it, and I was like, oh my God. And then, but we watched it after we were kind of doing a little, like, kind of deep dive into stuff. But he had a revelation, and he was like, I think I was David in a past life. So David, the word David that come out, David, Cicero, let me make sure I'm getting that right, was her scribe. And I was like, oh my God. Let me make sure. It's been a while since I looked that one up. Hold on. Mary, Queen of Scots, scribe David. Rizzio. There it is. Okay. So here is him. There's David Rizzio. And then here's the photo. Let me see here. Mary, Queen of Scots. Images. Boom. Very, very eerily accurate. Like, she's so pale, which, hello, I am too. You can't really see that one. But this is the one where I was like, okay, that's me. Let me get it close up to maybe where you can see it. I don't know. If you're watching on YouTube, here you go. But that's literally the one where I was like, oh my God, and the big collar. And I'm seeing all these, like, with the big floofy collars and stuff, and I'm like, that was exactly it. So he was like, I think I was David in a past life. Now, David was, and this is wild, and we didn't know this thing, and David was Mary Queen of Scots' scribe, but so much more that you'll find out. He was killed by being stabbed in the back, and this person had a birthmark of a stab mark on, like, what looked like kind of a stab mark, and that's usually, like, your birthmark is, like, can sometimes be how you passed in a past life. But then comes to find out, this person and David Rizzio, he is from, I think it's Turin, Italy. Let's see, where are you at? Let me get all this done. He is, yes, he took, he's from Italy, and I think it's Turin, and comes to find out that's exactly where he is from. That's like his lineage come from. Wild. And he was stabbed he took 57 dagger wounds. Yeah, it was absolutely wild. So here he is having a moment, because he's the past life regressionist, and he's like, fuck, I was David, which would explain kind of our connection. Like, he was, at a time, he was like kind of, I called him my wolf brother, and I was very closely connected to him, and kind of, had feelings and all those stuffs. And, but it was very much like kind of a wolf brother thing. And comes to find out, Mary is not so innocent with that, because they were lovers. And we're going to dive into that too. I mean, it literally, like, I cannot make this shit out. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So there's the thing of, like, he's realizing that he was him. And that would explain room 2. So I'm riding on the horse with this David, and we go into the cottage, and there's the quill, and he was her scribe, but also friend, and he was writing down what she was talking about. So I was like, okay, wow. But it was also, when you look at history, so now let's get a little history. It was believed, like, Mary Queen of Scots and her husband, Henry, okay, the other person that come up. But it was also, Henry was not straight, all right? Henry was a little bi. Henry loved the boys. Henry loved David. And it was a little known thing that Henry and David were a thing. But also, Mary and David were a thing. Thruple, which is kind of what I really want in this life. I'm poly, and I would love a thruple. And I'm like, I wonder why. So anyways, it was believed that, like, Mary's son, James, King James, the one who wrote the King James version of the Bible and the book Demonology. It was believed that, like, James might not have been Henry's. It was David's. Well, in that third room, when I gasped and I'm like, I'm pregnant, and the child is David's. Well, I might have solved a big history, mystery in through there. So that's what it was like. The child was not Henry's. So, and I know that's ballsy of me to say, but, like, as we go, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, this person really was like Mary Queen of Scots. And so there's how those ties. So I'm just like, oh my God. So we watched the movie, and I'm just like, I was crying. I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is wild. And that's how I kind of learned about her. So this is the first time ever knowing anything about Mary Queen of Scots. So then I realized, I was like, wait a minute. My other friend who does human design and was my astrology queen, like, that helped me all this stuff. I was like, she has a castle in Scotland. And I was like, she has to be tied to this. So I call her. It is now 1:30 in the morning. And I FaceTime, and I'm like, oh my God, you will not believe what I just happened. Like, all this stuff. I just had my pastor. This is who I was. And I was like, don't you have? And I was like, this is who he was. Like, oh my God, my mind's blowing. I was like, you have a castle. And she goes, oh my God. She goes, I did a past life regression, and I was Mary Queen of Scots' astrologer in a past life. Gay gasp. Clutch your pearls. Go ahead. I was like, shut the fuck up. And then we look up her castle. And so I Google it. And it was the home of one of the homes of Mary Queen of Scots. So not only was she the astrologer to Mary Queen of Scots in a past life, but here she was literally my human design and astrologer queen in this life. And her castle that she has, their family castle, was where Mary Queen of Scots lived. I was gagged. Even he was gagged. He was still there with me, and he was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh my God, this is legit. Like, that's when I had my mind blown, because I was like, I'm not making this up. I'm not lying. I'm not a liar. And I'm like, holy fuck, what is going on? Well, little did I know, that's just the tip of the iceberg. All right. So since then, that kind of confirmed it for me that I'm not making this stuff up. There's something to this, and, like, holy shit. Okay. So there's that one. All names, we went down a rabbit hole until about 3:30 that morning. All names that come out of my mouth, all events, all of this stuff was accurate. Room 3, let's talk about the burning. That burning room, the witches. Mary Queen of Scots burned witches. She had witches burned at the stake. But it was believed that Mary Queen of Scots was a white witch, and she only burned dark witches, like dark magic, bad, evil magic. But also the witch wound in this life, and here I am, a witch, and feel such a thing to, like, normalize the word witch and help people, like, it's not this thing that it's not demonic, it's not evil, because literally I set them on fire in a past life. So I'm like, so there's that. Zoom out. So it wasn't me on fire, but it was believed that, again, Mary had a white witch at her bedside to take labor pain away from her. That's historically accurate. I did not know that. That came out of my mouth, and that's, you can look up a historical account of it, that she had a witch at her bedside to take labor pains when she was giving birth to King James. Yeah. Another mind-blowing moment. But then I pull out, and I'm like, they killed David. Well, and they charged in. The history of that is like, and if you watch the movie, you can see it. But it was like King Henry kind of got kind of cornered. And they were like, look, we've got you, boo. And you can either go down and it can be something bad, or it can literally, like, we can pin this on David and Mary. Okay, the choice is yours. So he made the choice to do that. So they storm in. Mary and them were hanging out, and they storm in to try to get David. Mary stands in front, but they come up through the back, which I've actually been in exactly where this happened. They come up through a back little room, charge, and they stabbed him, in the back, right there in front of Mary, and they took Mary away. So here they have killed David, and I feel like it's my fault. Like, I was just like, I've run my mouth. Like, I caused this to happen. And then Henry thinks he's safe, but look it up. Henry, they took him to a house or something like that right there. Well, there was an explosion that killed Henry. And remember, in that room, there was an explosion. And then I said, they've got Henry. And then they took me to a safe space, which was a cottage, which was the same cottage or whatever. So not only was I pregnant in that thing, and I was like, the son's David's, but literally they've killed David. There's an explosion. I'm like, they've got Henry. They're taking me away. All historically accurate. And I promise you, I swear on little baby Jesus' life, I knew none of this shit. Okay, this is what all's coming out of my mouth. So there's another one. Then, so I end up, I think it was 2021 when I had the past life regression. So I meet my now partner, Adam, and we sit down, and he asked me, like, when we first started dating, he was like, do you believe in past lives? And I said, oh, bitch, do I believe in past lives? Honey, do I believe in past lives? I've got the tea to spill to you. So I sit down and I tell him this story, and he's fascinated. He's like, oh my God. But then at the end, he was like, well, that's interesting because my family, by his lineage, is Scottish. And he was like, we have a family Castle Inverary, or Castle Argyll. That was it. And I think it's Inverary Castle. And it's big. I was like, holy shit. I was like, are you shitting me right now? I was like, you have it? He was like, yeah. And he was like, let's look it up and see what the tie is. It's where Mary Queen of Scots was held prisoner for 19 years. I literally about shadoodled my pants right on the fucking couch right then. I was like, oh my God. And now this person, who's also very witchy and very much gets everything and all this stuff, is into my life. That's another person. So I only had two people, but now I have a third person that is still my partner today, who has a castle where she was held captive and has a direct lineage to Scotland and the Scottish. I can't make this shit up, y'all. So there's that one. So then in 2022, shortly after meeting him, me, my friend Anya, and another friend, we're taking a trip to London for the first time. And so we're preparing, and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So I get to go to England. Yay! I'd been a little bit in 2019, but not really in London. So I'm sitting there being like, okay, cool. So she calls me, y'all, or she's messaging me. She was like, oh my God. She was like, I really hope that we can go see the resting place of Mary Queen of Scots while we're there. But she's like, I think it's far away. And I was like, I look it up, and no, she's at Westminster Abbey. And I'm like, that's right there in London. So fast forward, we get to London. We're in line to literally go see where Mary Queen of Scots is buried. Okay. But I was not fully prepared to what I was about to experience. We're in line to go into Westminster Abbey. I'm so excited that I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm going to get to see this. Not a lot of people know, I was in there, and this is a friend too, that she's heard, she was like, oh, but she was like, oh, this is wild. There's something to this, but skeptical at first, but she's very spiritual, very gives of her own. And so we're in line, and this trip confirmed it for her. She was like, there's no doubt in my mind, especially what I'm about to tell you after Westminster and then the Tower of London. So we're there in line, and she's excited for me. I'm excited, a lot of people, to be a big public figure. I knew I was a queen in a past life. I just knew it. I was like, hello. And it's my Leo risings. That's literally, if you have Leo rising in your chart, sometimes you were a past life royalty on that end. So I was so excited standing there being like, I get to actually see this. Not a lot of people get to do that. So, and they said that can be very healing. So I was like, okay, cool. And past lives is I can see they warn you, don't get so caught up in it. But I was like, bitch, I was a fucking queen. Like, I want to get caught up in this stuff. And I really want to, like, I was like, hello, like, dive in. And you can get really obsessed like I did. But the thing is to learn from that past life. You look at the past lives and you see, like, okay, like, what's some good things? But then, like, was some of their downfalls? What was things you need to learn in this life? And we'll talk about that at the end. So there's a lot of healing that can happen when you can visit the birthplace of exactly where you, of the person that you were beforehand. So I'm going in this knowing, like some stuff's going to happen. So we go in, I'm really excited. We get inside. Oh my God, Westminster Abbey is one of the best, most beautiful places I've ever been in my entire life. So we go in and we're perusing around. I have no clue where the spot is, and we didn't get a map. So we're just going through. And I remember being in this little hallway outside of a big kind of like, it's the two kind of wings out through here. And I remember being like, Anya, I'm getting really angry and I'm getting really mad. I'm upset and I feel like I'm going to get sick. I don't even know that I can do this. Like, I was getting physically ill, angry. Like, I would have like destroyed a statue. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know if, and she was like, just breathe through it. And then we go into this room and I was like, I cannot be in here. And she was like, oh my God, look at whose grave we're beside. And it was Queen Elizabeth, who had me beheaded. And no wonder I was angry. But I was like feeling rage, like I wanted to fucking kill somebody. And here we are, literally right beside the person who betrayed me the most and had me beheaded. And Anya's looking at me like, I was like, can't make this up. So that's in one wing. But then, quite ironically, the person who killed, like, oh, this big queen that got, oh, well, whatever. Like, bitch, you couldn't have a child. Fuck off. Then King James took over. So you're welcome, bitch. Like, is in one big wing. And then we make our way over to the other big wing. And that's where I see it. But before this is where she kind of knew there was something to this. When she was telling me, I digress, she had texted me that we got to see it. What happened is I looked up where Mary Queen of Scots was laid to rest. And I was like, oh, if I'm going to see it, let's see what it is. Recall room 4 that I took you in. Okay. And I was like, so I look it up. When I see this photo, when I tell you for about 30 minutes, I am sobbing on the couch. Visceral reaction seeing this. I'm like, oh my God. There's her resting place. Okay. A canopy bed. And if you zoom in, she is all in white marble. And to her right is the big mirror that you can't see. There it is. A big window where the moon would be coming in. Now, I'd never seen this in my entire freaking life, ever. This is just literally the room. I didn't even know who this person was. That's literally the resting place, what I had described. And I finally sent that to Anya and I was like, oh my God, you'll never believe. And there is what it was. And she was like, oh my God. She knew then that there was something about this because I had described it to a T without ever seeing it. And so we go in and we finally get there and I'm like, all right. So, oh, here's her literally all in white stone. Yep. And so I get to go. There's more photos. Her. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So I get to go. And it was like time completely escaped. It was a out-of-body experience. Overwhelming, crying, like it was absolutely just wild. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is crazy. And it felt like I literally got transported in, but it just felt like this sense of peace was coming over my body when I was there. I got to lay my hands on and touch. And there was people around, but like they didn't really matter. It was absolutely wild. Here is me outside of Westminster Abbey. And then here's the photo of me taking a picture of it. But then I caught something really cool. a green orb coming from it. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was a magical moment. But there's the window. The sun's there, but literally the moon. And at nighttime, underneath the moon, nobody would be in Westminster Abbey, which is why I was alone. Yeah. So she was gagged at that. Yep. So I was like, told you I'm not lying. So then, that was magical. She was like, holy shit, you were literally queen. I was like, yeah, if you need further confirmation, like, I mean, there's that. But I got very much further confirmation. We end up going to the Tower of London, and we're there, and that's where like the bad go, like it prison, all this stuff. So anyways, end up going through. We get to see the crown jewels, and I'm just like, those are my fucking crowns. Like I've always said about the crowns of being like, the queen just needs to give me my crown back. Like, Well, the crown was mine, and it was literally stolen, so give me the fucking crown. But anyways, preface this with, way back in the day, I named, in nursing school, I have migraines. And I suffer migraines, and I called it Migraine Mary, okay? And I have neck pain, neck issues, all this stuff. And I called Anxious Annie and Depressive Deborah. That's what I named them in nursing school. Thank you, nursing school, for all of them. So I named my migraines Migraine Mary. So we're at the Tower of London going through. We see the crown jewels. Beautiful, stunning. And then we get out in this kind of courtyard area, and I get a migraine attack. I get the aura, and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, I'm so sorry, girl. I was like, this doesn't get better. I was like, I might have to leave. And then it gets very intense. In my head, this pressure, my neck starts hurting. And I'm like, what is this? I was like, girl, I said, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to continue. I'm going to have to go. So we start going around. It gets even worse. I'm like the worst migraine pain, the neck pain. I'm like, oh, this is so bad. And she goes, oh my God, look. And there in front of us was the chopping block where Mary Queen of Scots was beheaded. I saw that and I was like, oh my God. I looked at it. And then after about 5 seconds, the migraine attack completely gone. And if you know a migraine or attack, those spots linger around for 20, 30, sometimes minutes to an hour. And the migraine pain can be really, really bad afterwards. Everything was gone. It just stopped. And it just happened when we were in the vicinity of this chopping block where she was beheaded. Do you need further proof? Okay, well, I'll provide it. So there was that. It was wild. And she knew then. And when she tells the story, she was like, no, this bitch isn't lying. Like, she was like, I knew the moment that happened. She was like, that was fucking wild. Like, you literally got a migraine attack right at the chopping block where she was beheaded. And you named your migraines Migraine Mary. And you have all these neck issues. Blowing my own mind, right? Blowing your mind a little bit, sweetie, ain't I? So, fast forward. So I kind of learned, kind of let it go a little bit, the thing, just like live in the moment. But I finally got to go to Scotland in 2024. I spent a whole month over in the UK. And that's when I knew I was like, yeah, I'm moving. I was supposed to have already moved back like in 2020, but COVID shut that down. So I go and spend a whole month over there. I take the train from London up to Edinburgh. So stunning. Oh my God. If you haven't done it, do it. You have to do it at least once in your lifetime. Beautiful. First class, wasn't even that much. And like, I don't even know, that ham salad sandwich on there is divine. Like, every people like, ew, gross. But I love that ham salad sandwich and like the tea, all the stuff you want. It's great. Beautiful. But I get into Scotland and I thought I was going to move to England. But when I got to Scotland, it was like a coming home. And I also had to make sure, because sometimes you don't want to, like, am I being drawn there because of a past life? But in this life, I have 2 astrocartography lines that run right through London and Edinburgh. If you don't know what astrocartography is, I'll talk about it, but go look it up. And it's 2 lines of where I'm meant to be in this life. So I get there and I'm like, oh shit, yep, it's Scotland. Most beautiful place I've ever been. The people felt like coming home, all this stuff. So anyways, we go in this, and I'm up there for a little bit. A past friend and I we go up and we do Isle of Skye, we do all the things, and then we get back and there's the place where we are staying, Carberry Tower. It's like a mansion, it's a castle, Carberry Castle. And we get back down and I'm kind of exhausted from the little trip, and so I get to check in. It's a little it's a castle outside of Edinburgh, and I was like, okay, let's do this. Oh, Nope, let's talk Holyrood before we talk this one. When we first got to Edinburgh, we got to go to Holyrood, which was like Mary Queen of Scots, like home where she lived. So we go in there, and it's wild. I'm having all these feelings. And I told this person that, about the past life regression, and she was like, holy shit, she's witchy. So she was like, I believe you. But then, like, she was mind blown. She was like, oh my God, like, she almost couldn't even comprehend it. So we go to Holyrood, and we're there, and I got to be in her, like, I get to go to her bedroom, like, go to the bedroom and see all this stuff. And I'm climbing up the staircase where the soldiers literally rushed in to kill David. And I'm seeing everything, and it is so overwhelming. I'm like, oh my God, these are my things. Like, what is this? And keep in mind, I also am wanting to get into cross stitch, needlework, and needlepoint. I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, am I a granny witch from East Tennessee? Like, what is this? We go around the corner from her bedroom, and I get to see where it's not his butt, but it was where David was killed. And it's a room full of there's relics of her hair, and a ton of needlepoint cross stitching that it was artwork of hers. I was like, oh my God, what is this? So I got to be in the presence of exactly where it happened. And I kind of was telling people, we were close to closing time. They let me stay. I told them, and they were like, well, past lives. And with what I told them, like, dude. So they completely believed, and they let me stay extra amongst the things and all that stuff, which was really, really cool. So that was another thing that we got to experience. And we go up Scott, Inverness, all this stuff, and then we come back. Now we're at Carberry Tower. And I was like, okay. So we're there. Is this beautiful castle mansion. And I go in and I check in and walk in. My ex-friend's with me, and she's like, I was like, hey, need to check in. I rented out the royal suite and all this stuff. And this woman kind of looks at me. She goes, I think I'm going to upgrade you to the Mary Queen of Scots room. And I looked at her, she looked at me, and we're like, and so I start to tell this woman about who I am, and she goes, I know exactly who you are, which causes me to almost fucking faint. She believed in past lives, and evidently she recognized this, and I'm like, I cannot make this shit up, y'all. And she tells me she's going to put you in Mary Queen of Scots room, which was her bedroom. It overlooked the rose gardens, all this stuff, which is explained why I love roses. And she goes, I need you to do something today. She goes, I want you to do a little hike. It's about 30 minutes, but it's called Carberry Hill. And she goes, it's where Mary Queen of Scots surrendered to Queen Elizabeth. She goes, so it's a beautiful hike. So we get checked in and we do it. And we go on this hike. So when we go out in the gardens, we're like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. And then we literally and I see my first fairy ring, which is like a ring of mushrooms. And don't step in one. Don't ever do it. And I'm like, oh my God. And then out of nowhere, out of the woods, we're in the countryside of Edinburgh, a little mini golden doodle runs out, which if you know me, that's my love child. And I'm like, it's like this white dog, like that runs out at me, like, and runs right up to me and like sits and looks, and like I pet it and all stuff, and then it looks at me, barks, and then takes off on this trail. We don't know where the trail's at. She didn't give very clear directions. So we were like, okay. And then all of a sudden, all these rabbits started hopping the trail, and we're like, okay, is this some Alice in Wonderland like fever dream? And she's like, dude, this is getting freaky. I was like, well, let's go. Well, it's supposed to take 30 minutes. It was about 2 hours because we got a little lost. But as we're starting on this path, all of a sudden we see this Scottish man come out, and he was like, oh, there you are. Like, and he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, he's never done this before. He's never ran off before, ever. And he comes all this way to me and then takes me on this path. And so we keep going. And then fast forward, we get lost. We take a wrong turn, but we end up at this cottage. Remember the cottage? Uh-huh. So here I am, and I'm like reading the thing about the cottage, and I'm like, where Mary and David would go. And to get there, you would kind of have to go through a little countryside to get it. So what I was seeing in my past life regression was not England, it was actually Scotland. So there's the cabin. So then we backtrack and we go, and then I end up at this big placard, and it was talking about Carberry Hill, and it has it to where like what it would look like, but then you can see over Edinburgh, and it'll show you like all this that's going on. So this is the biggest kicker. This is the biggest one that shocked the shit out of her. My mouth dropped, and I was like, I FaceTime Anya, my person, that was there with me in London at Westminster Abbey. I literally couldn't handle it. So I'm reading the placard, and I have a picture to show you. I'm reading the placard, And and here's the said placard right here. Okay, Mary Queen of Scots. Although this view shows many signs of modern life, because you could see whatever. It said, much of the basic landscape is unchanged from the time of Mary, Queen of Scots. From here, you can see the 3 places where key events in her life took place. 1. The Hatched area is where the Scottish army camped before its disastrous defeat at the Battle of Pinkie on the 10th of September, 1547. 2. Craigmillar Castle was one of Mary's favorite retreats. Here, in November 1566, a group of Scottish lords began the intrigue, which culminated in Lord Darnley's murder on the 10th of February of the following year. Are you ready for this one? Then it said, 3. The copse. The copse indicated on the right marks the traditional site at which Mary surrendered to the lords on the evening of 15th of June, 1567. And I was like, wait a minute. Look at what day it was that I was there. June, I'm getting cold chills. I'm going to get emotional. It's fine. I knew then, I was like, wow. I was there on June 15th, 2024, at the exact day, the evening of, and we were there on the evening, June 15th, 1567. I don't quite know what I experienced, but my whole body just vibrated in just this. Sorry, guys, I'm getting emotional. It was so beautiful, and I can't make this up. I literally just checked into a hotel. They upgraded me to the Mary Queen of Scots room. The woman's like, I know who you are, and by the way, I need you to go on this hike today. And it was June 15th, the exact day. So I decided to have like a releasing thing, and I wanted to give Mary Queen of Scots back to Scotland. Like, there was a piece of her still in me. Still is, but this friend kind of backed up and let me have my thing. And I don't quite remember what felt like 2 seconds. It was 10 minutes. And I just kind of like put my arms out and closed my eyes. And I just gave her back. I was like, thank you for the lessons. I was like, you've been with me. Let me put you back into Scotland. And after it was done, I don't remember much. But I kind of freaked my friend out. She was like, the ground vibrated, shook, and like the leaves went crazy. The wind went crazy. It was a very calm day. She goes, something happened, but you kind of like, so I was like, that was me kind of like giving her back to, she was with me for a little bit, like when I went to the past life to get her, but I gave her back to Scotland. And then we got to go up, but she was like, yeah, that was wild. She was like, I don't know what the fuck that was. So we go up, we got to see the monument to her, the field, all this stuff. And we got back, and that felt like when I released all of the past, like everything released. And yeah, that was on this exact same day. You can't make that up. So yeah. And then after she left, I got to stay for a little bit, and I went and explored Stirling Castle, where she grew up. I got to see there's another one. There was another one. We went to Edinburgh Castle. Oh, yep. So if that wasn't a kicker, that was the kicker. But this is another fun one. We were at Edinburgh Castle. We got to see the Scottish jewels, and I was like, there's my crown. Like, give it to me. And then we end up in this room where the famous Mary Queen of Scots Whitehead statue is, and it's all about her and her lineage. And I just remember being very happy and this sense of joy. And just, then I was overwhelmed. It was almost like a little painful. I was like, ooh, why am I feeling like this? But overwhelmed with pure joy. And I start crying, and there's a room full of people. And my friend was just like, oh my God, you will not believe. And she goes, look here. And right in the corner was the room where she gave birth to King James, her son. And I got to like, literally like peek around the corner and experience that. So it was the joy that I was feeling picking up. That was another fun thing. So I got to go to Stirling Castle, be where she's at, like where she grew up, see all the things where like she walked and just all this stuff, and it felt like a coming home to it. And then got to go where she was born, and that castle was kind of, it's not inhabitable, but I got to see the room and step into the room. It might have been under construction and they had it blocked off, but like I went in there anyways because I was like, I came all this way, I'm going to go into this room. So I got to be in the room where she literally was born. So yeah, so it felt like in 2024 that was like the completion of that cycle. So that is my past life story. There's no doubt of who I was in a past life. And it's funny because they called Mary Queen of Scots. Well, I was Mary Queen of Shots. When I was Talk Josh, I was Josh when I found this out, and I was literally still an aesthetic nurse injector. And so I was like, I was Mary Queen of Scots, now I'm Mary Queen of Shots. It was hilarious. It's probably going to be on a song at some point. So that's my MQOS, Mary Queen of Shots in this life. Something funny that come of that. But the thing that, reflecting back on it, and this is what a past life regression is all about, is I looked at her life, and in this life, I wanted to see, like, I took a look and it was just like, she was sharp-tongued. She didn't give a fuck. But I also got her in trouble. And when I look at my past life, like Talk Josh feels like a past life, he's sharp-tongued. He was this, that, and the other, quick-witted, like didn't give a fuck. And sometimes I got him in trouble. And Mary Queen of Scots was very trusting. And at every point on her journey, she was screwed over by the people closest to her. And I, have been on that journey too, that like people close to me, like end up like, it feels like stabbing me in the back or taking advantage of me and all this stuff. And I'm kind of left the one out. And I'm like, but in my own business, like I'm the one feeling like, the one that got screwed up in my own place is wild. And it was wild to look back and be like, okay, there's some things I need to tweak and learn from that past life and incorporate in this life so you heal those. And that's what I feel like I did on that journey from 2021 through 2024, going back to Scotland, leaving it there and really reflecting, becoming obsessed. Like, I mean, becoming obsessed. I was like, bitch, I knew I was a queen. And learning from her past life and like reflecting and seeing how some of those karmic cycles are still playing out and how I need to close that karmic loop and learn from it. But also, past life regression has become such an important part that I'm about to go through the QHHT program through Dolores Cannon's, school to learn how to do them. Because I know it's going to be an important thing for like the vision that I have of my future of the things that I've been downloaded with that I know I'm going to do. It's an important part of my journey on the way to getting there. So yeah, and then it brings up the point too, like one of the coolest things about astrology. This is a long episode, strap in, buttercup, like pause if you need to. But like South Node and North Node. So I'm going to blow your mind a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy into it because I'll do that on another episode. But like with South Node's all about karma and North Node's is all about like dharma. So South Node's things you come into this life with and like you've mastered, but it's also like you need to learn from. And then North Node's where you're going. So my South Node's in Scorpio. My North Node's in Taurus. When I look at Scorpio in the negative aspect, stingy, sharp, quick-witted, don't give a fuck, like all that stuff. That was very much Talk Josh on that end. Fast foundation. Scorpio, fast. I got shot into Instagram fame really quick in my industry, and I just had to figure it out, and it didn't quite allow me to lay a foundation that would be a legacy. It was more like quicksand, and I was like, gotta go, hustle culture. But like you can only go so fast when you're out, you're gonna realize you're gonna start to sink. And that was fast rise, fast fall. My Taurus, so I've learned a lot of that. My Taurus North Node is where that's what I'm trying to be more like in this lifetime. Taurus is slow, luxury, is not rushed. It's not rushed at all. Legacy work. And that's what I'm doing now with House of Alchemy and Aesthetic Alchemy and all that I'm building. And it takes time. It's slow. And my nervous system did not know what slow meant. It's like, if it's not working immediately, that means you're failing. And which causes you to spiral or like change and all stuff. And it's like, no, bitch, slow the fuck down. We're no longer in hustle culture. We no longer have to hustle. Good things take time. You don't eat the fruit the day after planting the seed. So I'm leaning into my north node, not that south node bullshit anymore. And when I kind of look at it, some of the same qualities is exactly like of maybe some of hers that I needed to kind of let go of. But also took the good qualities and like amplified that in my life too. So that was a big learning thing. And here's the big thing. It allowed me to know that like what I was raised to believe. I'm not here to change your belief on anything. I'm just sharing my story. Like, again, you might not like my tea, drink it or not. But for me, like I was raised to believe we're here, we die. If we're a sinner, we burn in a lake of fire for eternity. Fuck off. And like, and then we go to heaven. Like, that's it. Reincarnation? No. Like, don't even question any of that. And this past life regression really made me realize that like, I'm not making this shit up. I literally, my soul, this is not my first time on this planet, that reincarnation is true, and that our souls will come back to earth on this karma school until we fucking learn it and close the loops. I feel like this is my last time. Please let this be my last time here. Like, please, I'm waking up now. I'm doing exactly what you're asking for. Please don't make me come back here. Unless it's like peaceful and perfect and it's a really good time. But it made me realize that like, you know, we're always afraid of death. Like, I don't want to die. Oh my God, this blah, 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 and all that stuff. It really completely like came in and like Windexed that out of my life. I saw it very clearly and it was just like, wow, this is beautiful. And when you take the fear of death away, then you can learn to love living life. All that fearing death or running out of time, like put that energy into loving living life. And that was very healing for me. That was very freeing for me to know that like, oh, this is not my first time. That there's a way bigger thing than what a primitive Baptist church tells you, that they don't even know how to spell cow, let alone like talk about the Bible from the watered down version that King James did, my son, which is quite funny. Oh, let's dive into that a little bit. King James himself, big homosexual. Yeah. He also wrote the book Demonology. He burned a lot of black witches, like black magic witches, and kind of like caused a lot of the bad witch hunt stuff. And I kind of in this life feel like I got to undo what my son did. That's probably why I don't want kids, because like he was whack. But look up his life, and it's funny that the King James version of the Bible is the one that's like hardcore and like the one. I'm like, honey, he was absolutely psychotic when he put that thing together. He picked and chose, left so much stuff out, and literally had it transcribed to suit him. And it's funny, a flaming homosexual king. Look it up. I'm not making this up. It's fucking ironic, isn't it, that the number one version of the Bible used is King James version, and it's from a homosexual king, and it's not even accurate. And it was from a past life of mine. You're welcome. Yeah, that's wackadoodle. But that whole King James version of what life and death is, it got blown wide. It got blown the fuck up pretty much. And I realized that there's life beyond this. Life goes on. After this meat suit fades away, the soul goes on to something different. And when you look at past life regressions, look up Dolores Cannon and all the past life stuff and all the past life practitioners that do these. Everybody is like goes to light, you know, they can take them to light, but then it's source, and it's like deciding exactly what you go through, like, and all this, like, it's absolutely wild when you look into it. And it's been very healing. I'll probably do another episode where I dive into like past, like the nuances of past life as I go through, but it was wide. It was absolutely wide, shockingly, like to have my mind blown completely wide open about like the notion about like, no, we just die and we go to heaven or hell. No, my soul knows better. And that was proof of it. So can't make this shit up. I can't. I could, but why would I? And there's so many synchronicities at the people in my life now that are still from that life and who they are. It just is absolutely mind-blowing to do that. And I wanted to share that story with you all. If you've not had a past life regression, do one. If you're in Nashville area, or when I go to Scotland, I am going to get my certification probably over the winter time, and I'll be doing them. You can come see me for one. But I highly recommend you look into it. It's fascinating. If this is just like, oh, this is bullshit, this is whatever, like open your mind a little bit, look at life with some different goggles than you've been conditioned to look at it through. And it's absolutely mind-blowing what can happen with a past life regression. So there's mine. All the funny things. I hope I haven't left anything out, but it was incredible. And yeah, so I was Mary Queen of Scots in a past life. If I think you're leaving this being like, holy fuck, he's not making this up. It was definitely confirmed for me, and it doesn't matter if it's confirmed for you or not. It's true for me. And there's too many synchronicities in this life to not say it's true. So Mary Queen of Scots. Now I'm like, what do I got to figure it out since I'm not injecting anymore? I'm like, whatever it is. But here you are, darlings. So watch out. I need my crown, England. Give me my jewels. And if not, at least let me have a room in the Buckingham Palace, for like dedicated tea room. Anywho, y'all, there's that. I blew your minds. I'm sorry. I love you. You're gonna be okay. Excuse me. Look into it, because you might have some stuff that you need to heal from a past life that you don't even know about. So anyways, I love you all. I can't wait to dive into more of this shit. This is the real stuff I want to talk about, not another glabella or lip filler. And I'm glad you're pivoting with me on this journey. So, yeah. Here's to past lives. And to crowns and jewels. And stepping into the queen that I know I'm meant to be in this life. All right? Remember, you're not broken. You're a masterpiece just as you are, living in a broken system. I love you. You are worthy just as you are. Thanks for showing up. Like, subscribe, comment what you think below. Let me know what you think about this below. And I'll see you guys on the flip side of next time. And as I always say, darlings, there's the last drop of that tea, sweetie.